Okay, for this next assignment, you are going to be creating an original pattern as we're learning about our principles of design. So the pattern is going to be showing balance because it's filling the space equally, unity because you're repeating similar elements of art like lines, shapes, colors, forms. It will show movement because your eye is going to follow the rows along the edges of the pattern. And then when your eye moves consistently, you're going to also have rhythm. So this one assignment is going to represent about 4 or 5 different principles that we're learning about. So here are 2 different examples of how you're going to create a pattern from a single image that you're going to choose. So when you go to Schoology and open up Photoshop, there's now a pattern folder, and you can see these examples here. And then the printed instructions are also digitized here, and this is where you're going to access the video as well. So just like the last video tutorial I made, you can play the video and pause the video to complete the steps and then go back and forth. So step 1 says you're going to create a new document. So you're going to click File, New. It is important that you make these dimensions very specific. So it says change untitled to unit of design. So the definition of a pattern, it says it's repetition of a unit of design. So we're starting with that basic building block. You need to make sure you're set to pixels first, and then you're going to make both of these numbers 400. Your resolution is going to be 300, color mode CMYK, and then the background can stay white, and you're going to click create. So in this white box, you're now going to start out with an image of your choice. Everything you do in my class has to be school appropriate, but you can type in a topic in a Google image search. So I'm going to click on images so that I only get photos in my search, and maybe I want to start with candy. So I want you to change the format by clicking on Tools, Type, Line Drawing. So now you're going to get black and white drawings of whatever that topic is. So you're going to scroll until you find an image you want to work with. You can use parts of one picture, like if there's multiple things in the picture, but you don't want everything, then you can keep some parts if you don't want the whole thing. So if this is the one that I want to use, remember I'm going to have you snip the image with your snipping tool. So you're going to do a new snip. Then you put the crossbar in the corner of the photo, you click and drag, and if you cut off parts of the image, you're going to redo that. So I lost a part of that lollipop, so I'm going to do a new snip, and I'm going to go farther away. Don't worry about getting extra items inside the clipped area. Actually, I'm going to intentionally get more than I want. I can get this. Okay, so I'm going to get the save and that icon here. Then you're going to right click, save as. You're going to make sure in your art folder in your G drive, and you're going to title that something you're going to remember, and then click save. So then in Photoshop, I learned something new. I can click on this yellow folder at the bottom, and the last thing you saved is going to show under recent files. If you click on that file and drag it to your document and let go, it will place it in the document for you, and it's already set to transform where you can shrink or grow the image. So you want to make sure that the image is in the middle, push enter, and you need some white areas around the outside edge. Your image should not be touching the sides of the box. So then what you're going to do is stop and save. So you're going to go File, Save As, because all you've done is created the document. You're going to click on your computer, make sure you're in your art folder in your G drive, and then you're going to title it Unit of Design and click Save. Then you can click Yes to replace the existing image. I'm not going to do that though for my example. Okay, so now you're going to be adding color to this black and white image. So step number 4 says that you want to start with your paint bucket tool. And from Bellwork, you learned that you can click Control+ to zoom in on your image. It's okay if it gets blurry as it zooms in, because when you zoom out, it will look crisp and in focus. But sometimes it's helpful to zoom in to see things closer. Then, if you drug your picture into the document like I did, I'm going to have to rasterize this image. So I'm going to right click, rasterize. That just means you can edit and now change the color of things. So I'm going to be working on tool 13. I'm going to decide which one of these pieces I want to start to paint first with a solid color. So I'm going to click tool 13, and then I can choose any color in the rainbow. I set the color by clicking in the middle, and then I click OK. Now I'm going to click and hold tool 9 and choose paint bucket. When I use my paint bucket, wherever I click, that color is going to fill inside those black lines. If you don't like the color, then just go pick another color, and you can click right over the top. So this is just a process of clicking and filling in all the white areas to the design that you chose. Now, the other option to fill things in with the color is called to make a gradient. So if you want to blend two colors together, what you're going to do is click the front square and the back square and choose the colors that you want to mix. And then I have to make a selection. So I need to click and hold tool 4 and choose magic wand. The magic wand tool is going to let me click on white areas to make a selection. The dots on the screen are the selection. Then I'm going to click and hold tool 9 and choose the gradient. Now I'm going to click and drag and fill that selected area with my gradient. So if I don't like it, I can do Control Z, undo, or I can always come over to my history, which I have to add that. Actually, it is on my screen somewhere. Just gotta find it. There it is. Okay, my history is recording what I'm doing. So if I don't like it, I can always go backwards in my history and undo things there as well. So if you forget to make a selection with your magic wand, so there's no dots on my screen, I'm on my gradient tool, I'm on the right layer that I'm trying to color, and I click and drag to fill that piece of candy. The whole screen gets covered up because I didn't have a selection. So Control Z to undo. I click on the wand tool, I click on the piece I want. I can then go back to my gradient and click and drag. So I'm going to continue this process until I have the entire image colored in. So I have to remember that once I have a selected area finished, I need to deselect. Control D is going to get rid of the dots. Now I can use my paint bucket and go and fill in other areas. If I don't deselect, then it's not going to let me put color anywhere else that I want that color to go. All right, if you need to add to your selection, so like I want this jar to get colored, and when I do my gradient, I realize that I'm missing the piece between the two lollipop sticks. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z. I'm going to be on my magic wand tool. I'm going to hold down Shift, and then I can click in the area that I want to add to the selection. So now that it's selected, I can go back to my gradient tool. And now when I click and drag, it fills everything. Control D to deselect. Okay, another tip, if you're trying to use the exact same color again and you lost that color, you can copy it on your screen. So when you use your eyedropper tool, this is step 6. Tool number 6 is the eyedropper tool. When I select it, so if I want to use this exact same gray color to fill this gap here, I want it to match this light gray. So I'm going to use tool number 6. I'm going to go click on that color I want to copy. Tool 13 just became that area I clicked on my screen. Now I can go to my paint bucket and I can click there and it matches that color. So that is using your eyedropper tool. Okay, when I have everything colored in, now what I'm going to be doing is deleting things around the background that I don't want anymore. So step number 8, and I'm going to click Control S to save so that I have an updated version of this. So now step number 8 says you want to turn off the background layer. I'm going to click the eyeball on the background layer. So now I see really what is on that photo layer. I want to delete all that white background and the red save and the other little logo. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can get my eraser tool, and I can click and start erasing the extra pieces that way. But a faster way is to use your magic wand tool, click the white background, it will get selected, and then backspace to delete, Control D to deselect. In Photoshop, when you see gray and white checkers, it means there's nothing there, it's invisible. So now I can turn back on my background layer and see that it's just a plain white background. So now what you're going to be doing is choosing a color to set your background to. So I'm going to click on my background layer. I'm going to unlock my layer. And now I want it to be one solid color. It shouldn't be a gradient because that's going to affect the pattern. So pick a color, use your paint bucket tool, and fill the background. Your object should still stand out easily and be the focal point. So your background color should not take away from the actual main subject of your design. Okay, so when I have that finished, then what you're going to be doing is step number 9. So you're going to click back on your photo layer. It should be light gray so it's active, and I'm going to make a copy of this layer. Control J is going to make an exact copy. So now on my copied layer, I'm going to click Filter, Other, Offset. And what you want this to be set at is 200 for horizontal and vertical. This document was 400 pixels, so 200 is halfway between across horizontally and vertically, which is going to break up that copied image into 4 pieces, and it's going to end up in the 4 corners. If, when you do that step, you don't see it broken in the 4 corners, that's because your starting image was too small to begin with. So if that happened to you, what you're going to do is delete your copy layer. So I can drag that layer to the trash can. Then on my original photo layer, I'm going to do the move tool, Control T. So that happened because it was too small. So enlarge it so it's a little bigger. You still need empty space surrounding it. Then Control J to make a copy. Filter, Other, Offset. Make it 200, and then click OK when you see the 4 corners are filled. So now I'm ready to turn this into my whole pattern. So I want to save this. Control S to save because you're submitting this unit of design so I can see how you built the design. But now we're going to start a new file. Then you want to make this your last name and pattern. Then with pixels selected, you're going to make this 2400 in height, 2400 in width. Resolution is 300. Color is CMYK, and then click Create. So now I'm going to fill this new document with Edit. Oh, sorry, I forgot a step. Go back to your other one. Okay, I forgot. We have to make it a pattern. So this is on step 10. Step 10, you need to go Edit, Define Pattern. You can title that whatever you want to call it. So maybe I call mine Candy, and then I click OK. Now the computer has memorized this to use as a pattern. So now when I go back to my other document that was 2400 pixels, I'm going to go Edit, Fill. I'm going to click where it says Contents and choose Pattern. The first time you do this, it's probably going to say Foreground Color, or it might say Content Aware. Then Custom Pattern, you're going to click and scroll down, and you're going to look for the pattern you just created, and then you're going to click OK. And now this populates with the pattern that you just designed. Now you're going to click File, Save As. Always on your computer, make sure in your art folder you're saving this as your last name and patterns, and then you're going to click OK. Then you are ready to turn in Schoology. So for pattern turn-in, you're going to submit both documents, the unit of design and your finished pattern. You should be able to attach 2 different documents. Here's the grading rubric of what I'm looking for. Then early finishers, your job is to make a different pattern following the same steps. And when you go back to Photoshop, extra credit,